And let's do a few more of those sequential bridges. Be sure to start with your strong zip to get the tailbone curled out and then peel through. Count those vertebrae, really try to go one bone at a time. Big inhale at the top. So melty and sequential to come back down. One more time will be grand. And really feel the ribs come back one by one also. And when we land, we can go ahead and just rest into the floor. Now we do all that nice sequential work rolling up into the bridge, but I think when we do our ab curl, I'm often describing it just as a big hinge at one joint. But let's go ahead and bring our hands behind our heads. You might let the elbows wrap in a little. And then let's see if we can feel a similar sense of just one rib at a time, one thoracic vertebra at a time, peeling out of the floor, and then really rolling through the spine to come back down. So, we might think of it more like a roll up, roll down, but it's just a partial, so ends up looking like an ab curl. And of course, we have that little chin nod into the front of the throat, and then beyond that, we're working through the ribs. Yeah, just on your own timing, a few more times to see how soft we can feel through the rib cage to feel that sequential movement. All right, when you land back down, let's rest the head, release the arms down by our sides. One thing I've been noticing recently at the studio when we're working our outer hip, pressing the knees out via, theoretically, these muscles here, it's just so tempting always. And part of it's because we have all those good proprioceptive sensors in our feet. But there's such a strong tendency to try to initiate from the foot and kind of use the crank of the foot and then therefore this whole fascial chain to then get the hip to go. So it's indirect. I think, it's less efficient, less strong. And I think, whereas strengthening these muscles theoretically is really supportive of the knee, when we do it that way, it's like stressful at the knee. So let's kind of keep that in mind to really try to be loose in the feet and not have any impetus from there. And even for starters, let's feel your footprints on the floor. Feel especially inner heel bone, big toe side, edge of the foot, really grounding in. And then just lean the knees away from each other as far as you can without changing your feet, and then come back in. So even just feeling that, we really can move at the hips and move the knees without the feet moving at all, having any involvement. Yeah, super simple there. Great, yeah. So then go ahead and grab a loop band, and I have my medium one. So again, use what you like, but maybe we aren't going match challenge, so we have the bandwidth to really feel how we're doing what we're doing. So we got that right above the knees. And then let's just do the same exact thing. We've got our neutral pelvis. We've got the inner half of the footprint extra imprinted. And then you might even just poke with your fingertips right around these side hip muscles. Like, hey, you're doing it. And from up here, we start to press the knees out and press into it for a few seconds. See where you can go without the feet changing at all. And then slowly come back in. Yeah. And so play with this at your own pace, but definitely be on the lookout for any feeling of tension along the side of the lower leg. That would be a clue that we're trying to engage through the fascial chain more than just really specifically through these hip muscles. Now you might also play with being in a pelvic tilt, letting your low back flatten. Feet could be farther away or closer in. Like, there are a lot of ways to play with it to see exactly where you can feel like you're isolating things to the hips the most. When we come in, we'll just come to parallel, so not a total relaxation. Yeah. And shoulders are relaxed, neck, jaw, face, everybody easy on top. Good. Okay, next time you press out, when you get to the outward press, however much we can do without changing the feet, let's hold that. And then you might even look and see, okay, how turned out are my knees? Now let's step the feet to align with the knees. So now the feet are going to be a little wider. The toes are going to be a little bit turned out because we're just matching this turnout we were able to create from the hips for the knees. And now let's keep that, and let's do that nice zip up, curl of the tailbone, one vertebra at a time up to our shoulder blades for the bridge, and slowly melting back down. Now, even though our feet and our knees are turned out, and we're working out like this, can we still feel that inner half of the footprint being extra grounded, imprinted throughout our bridge up and down? And if not, see how you maybe could adjust the foot position. So we're pressing out, but still grounded in. Yeah, we're just keeping the knees in that wide turnout press as we work through the spine up and down. Nice, yeah. Everything below the knee is so relaxed. Whenever you next get to the top of the bridge, let's pause. Let's see if we can zip up even a little bit more intensely. Push the tailbone out even a little bit longer. Press the knees really strongly into the band with the feet grounded into that inner border for 5, 4, 3, 2. Keep the knees out as we melt through the vertebrae to come down. And then let's actually let the toes turn in first and then let the knees come in. Yeah, and then just let the knees drop together. So we're kind of in a fallen bridge, relaxed. Awesome. Okay, let's do another round of our one vertebra at a time ab curls. So make a basket for your head, nice and easy, a little bit of chin tuck. And then again, just really soft, because we've got the cage of the rib cage, there's all that bone. I think it can be hard to really soften and mobilize that part of the spine. So maybe we're not trying to go to our highest ever ab curl, but to really feel that bone by bone movement. Beautiful. Again, chin just stays a little bit connected into our very soft throat. Throat is soft because our neck is not trying to do this movement for us. Weight of the head totally supported. Working through those rib vertebrae. 2 more times. And after one more nice articulate roll down, let's rest. And go ahead and let your head and neck rotate from side to side when you land. Beautiful. And then we can step our feet out of the loop and treat it for your ring. Let's go arch of one foot into the ring and just take a nice easy bend and stretch. So letting the sacrum stay heavy, just kind of casually reach and bend with an easy breath. Just kind of opening up the back of the leg in a gentle way. Super casual. And the next time we go up, let's stay. So definitely kick yourself into a medium amount of stretch and hang out there and get a couple easy breaths. And then let's just step that foot right down out of there and do the same thing for the other side. So just easy stretch and bend several times. And then let's stay in the stretch and just breathe with it for a moment. And then we can step our feet down out of there. Great. Okay, let's do, be sure your neck is totally relaxed and your head is just making its deep imprint into the mat. Maybe do a big yawn stretch for your jaw. Give it a little wiggle. Yeah, so nice heavy head. And then let's float one thumb up, right overhead, right above the eyes, and we're staring at the thumb. And then let's see how close we can bring it without it doubling. And after you find that limit, let's go back up to a straight arm distance. And do that one more time. And after you've reached a straight arm up again that second time, go ahead and rest that arm down. Now let's return to relaxed legs, relaxed glutes, zipping up through the front body to come into our pelvic tilt, and really focus on the feeling of the back of your waistband, making a deep imprint into the mat, and then roll back out long to neutral. And just double check that the footprints don't get any heavier as we do that waistband press. Yes, it's truly all coming from center. Maybe we can reach a little extra long through the fingertips along the floor as we're doing that zip up press. Next time you've relaxed to neutral, let's float one leg up at a time to tabletop. Let's connect our big toes and then let the knees turn out a little bit. So we got like semi-frog here. And then I want us to try so hard not to do anything with the hip flexors, but to do exactly what we were just doing of zipping up through the low belly, pressing your waistband as deeply into the mat as you can. And then really take your time rolling back out to neutral, even though we don't have far to go. Let's exhale to zip. See if you can really engage pelvic floor along with your zipper muscles. And inhale, take that whole inhale to go back out long. Good. Meanwhile, reaching long through the fingertips. Upper chest stays open, shoulders stay grounded. Yeah, and the legs are just floating along for the ride. So work through the center. So we have that nice roll through the lower part of the spine happening. Next time you're in neutral, let's bring the hands to the head. And let's combine that with that nice soft roll through the ribs that we've just been practicing. And everything rolls and lengthens back down. Elbows and knees traveling toward each other and opening back out. But not because we're trying to do elbows and knees. We're still just working through that nice soft spine. Articulating from ends to center. Beautiful. Let's get a couple more. Next time we curl up, let's stay up. Go ahead and grab hold of one of your knees and really close. Reach the other leg out long. Imagine you've got your tailbone up high on the pillow. How much can we open that long leg down without losing the flatness of our lumbar? Get a little inhale, exhale, switch. Reach long and low. Little inhale, exhale, switch. Good, one more. A little inhale, exhale, switch. And then let's have both knees in and rest down. Beautiful. Let's wobble the head, let go of the neck. And then let's drop our feet to the mat. Go ahead and take one thumb right up at eye level and slowly drift it over to the side without moving your head. And then the side that you're going toward, close that eye a couple times to double check that the opposite eye can still see it around the nose. And so you're just going to that limit of where both eyes are able to have your thumb in view, so we can work on that convergence over there to that side, really stare at it. And then go ahead and turn your head and aim your head right at that thumb. And now let your head follow. So you're leading with the thumb, you're watching with your eyes, and you're letting your head turn too, all the way over to the side. And then just rest that arm and roll your head back to the middle. Let's take the other thumb up. Okay, so first the head is not moving. Thumb goes off to this other side, and then again, double check with this opposite eye. We can still see it around the bridge of the nose. And so we're staring with both eyes converging over to this side. Chin and nose are still right in the middle. Breathing. And now turn your head so you're aimed right at that thumb, and then the whole thing comes off to the side, arm and head and eyes all together. And then relax everything back to the middle. Excellent. Okay, let's flip over onto our stomachs. Okay, letting the feet have some space, letting the front of the pelvis settle. And then if it feels okay to turn your head to one side so you have one temple resting on the hands. And if you don't like being on the hands, you could open the arms and just have your temple on the floor. It's up to you. So wherever you want your arms to be, we're just going to get a little bit curious about what's going on right in front of the mat. So let's float the head just enough. Like imagine there's literally something sitting right in front of the edge of the mat. So we're not looking way forward, but just right there. Check it out and then continue turning so we come down on the other side. And you might inhale to float or you might exhale to float. Just go really slowly from one side to the other and play with how the breath makes sense with this little lift and rotate motion side to side. And then of course check in with the pelvis, the tailbone, and the weight of the head comes up. Are we feeling grounded through the pelvis, or do we feel like the tailbone is also trying to kick way up in the air? How can we stay extra long through the tail without necessarily getting grippy in the glutes? Check in with the shoulder blades. What are they up to as we go up and down, side to side? No right answer, but you might double check that they're not stuck in a high position because that'll just make it harder to lift up. Hopefully they're somewhere kind of low on the back. And the next time we lift and float, when you get to the center, let's just stay there. Double check that the arms are pretty relaxed, so it really is just the spine lifting itself. Nice and long through the tailbone. And let's kind of lazily slide the arms back until they're reaching back along the sides. Let's tent up on the fingertips. So how that lets us roll the shoulder blades even maybe a little narrower, farther down the back. And so be sure you feel open across the collarbones first, and then we can float the fingertips and feel like fingertips are reaching back, tailbone is reaching back, legs are long and stretching back. And then can we really send the sternum forward? Breathe in right behind it. Yeah. Let's give this a few more seconds. Feeling the whole back body awake. One more deep breath in. Exhale, let's melt down out of there. And then go ahead and take a child's pose or whatever feels like a nice release. And then let's float up to all fours. Now, I know that this thing that is sometimes called bear is not everybody's fave. And so feel free to boycott, freestyle, do something else. And of course, instead of palms, you could come down onto the forearms. But let's see if it feels all right to tuck the toes under. So we'll try to connect through the balls of the feet a little bit. Let's cinch up through the center. And as the center lifts up, can we imagine that the abs lifting pulls the kneecaps just 1 inch off the floor for 5, 4, 3, 2. Come down so gently. Just let your spine lengthen to neutral. Big inhale. Exhale, think a little bit of cat, but mainly just right at the middle. And then let that lift to the middle. Float the kneecaps off the floor. 5, 4, beautiful. 3, 2, 1. Land and lengthen. We will enjoy 3 more rounds of that. Here we go. Exhale, zip up, belly lift. Really try to feel like your abs pull your knees off the floor rather than jamming down through the toes. 2, 1, light knee landing, spine lengthens. Yeah, so it's not a press through the limbs. It's really a lift through the center. Hover up. 5, awesome. 4, 3, 2, 1, land, lengthen. Very last one, here we go. Lift through the belly, up, 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 up. 10 bonus seconds, 9, 8, 7, good, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, land, and yes, let's rest back. Maybe we bring the hands back by the feet and just drape the shoulders for a moment. Whatever feels good here. Good, good, good. All right, let's float up and let's get a quad stretch after all of that. Knees tucked in. Let's go back and forth with the breath. Let's think of really trying to exhale and disappear the ribs as the leg comes back. You might keep a nice neutral lumbar, but not notice that the ribs are jumping out. So exhale, collapse that solar plexus area back into yourself. Next time you come back, let's just stay a little bit longer. Breathing. Excellent. All right, when you're ready to release that, let's just back our feet up in line with the tailbone. And then in a really easy way, let's open this knee up and the bottom of that foot can just stand into the floor, and we'll just do an easy opening of that hip. And then drop it down, and here too, let your pelvis rotate so it's extra easy for the toes to go up. So big pelvis rotation that we're just allowing to happen to facilitate getting a lot of hip rotation, kind of an easy way. Good. And next time we come back and open up, let's stay there so we have that foot standing flat, especially ground that heel. In fact, let's maybe press that heel a little deeper into the floor. As you do that, you might feel those hamstrings fire up a little bit to do that downward press. And so keep grounding down through the heel, and let's just try to pulse that knee backward, backward, just getting a little bit of extra range in our rotation. Exactly. For 5. Press into it, open, and just melt out of there. Great. Other side, starting with quad stretch. Okay, ease way up and in to start. And then again, disappearing ribs as we come back into our stretch. One more time back, and then let's hold it a little bit. Right, and then when we're done with that, again, come back into more of a clamshell position, and then easiest version, opening up, rolling in, back and forth. And feel how the weight is rocking on that lower hip. So, we kind of fall back more toward the glute and falling forward, kind of limited by that bottom leg being there. One more round, and then let's keep that foot standing flat. Let's feel the heel bone deepen straight down into the ground. Maybe feel the back of the thigh fire up, and let's keep that as we look for a tiny little pulse. Just looking for a maximum hip opener here. Open, open. And then press open and hold. Deep breath in and out. And then relax out of there. Great. And then let's just pop on up to sitting. And feel free to just do regular leg crossing, but if you want to come into some version of butterfly, however far or close you like. And then let's give it also a super tiny controlled pulse. Now, same thing. Can we feel like below the knee, not doing anything? Can we really feel like the little lift and lower comes from the hip socket without any involvement in the lower half of the leg? And then press open and stay pressed open, and either just sit really tall right here, or if you want to tip over and get a little more stretch that way, whatever feels nice. Next inhale, let's float up tall and have a splendid Thursday. Thanks, y'all.